Good whatever time of the day it is to you, and welcome to the Outlook du jour. I'm Don Lucky Jr. Hey, I wanted to talk about a few things real quickly because I'm not going to take a lot of time. We talked about Gestalt before. Gestalt is the method of non-method being in method, okay? We talked about in the earlier broadcast. I forget what that was. Then we talked about a floating Gestalt, that you're in that Gestalt mode, okay? But you're floating in it. You're here. Marlon Brando, I forget what movie, but he was big. I think it was The Godfather. He was big on give me the cue cards, okay? Show me those trigger words or the key words that you want, but then I'm going to go off into my improv. So when I'm talking about the Gestalt, you're getting into that Gestalt and you're getting into a floating Gestalt. Like, for example, all the improvisers do it. Look at the best improvisers, specifically comedic improvisers, Saturday Night Live. When they're in that character, and then they're in that character for a long time, they're just having fun in the character, and then they're jumping into a different character the next scene. So it's not possible to do it that much method, okay? But you can do it. It's okay for TV. You can do it that quickly, but with the Gestalt. But it has to be practiced like anything else. And again, these are suggestions. Take this at your own time, at your own risk. But really, I'm just putting out general examples. So that's Gestalt and the floating Gestalt, and here's why that's important. When you see me improvising, good or bad, okay, good or bad, okay, and there's a lot of good. Here's the good part, okay. If I never improvised, okay, there's a lot of bad notes, okay, and some performances are just terrible or would be okay. So, but that's another part of it, is you take from the performance the parts that are okay and say, what did I do right in that? But here's the goal, here's the trick. Here's the trick for everyone to get their games up higher quicker. Okay, specifically musicians, but it really doesn't matter. When you're going through a piece, finish the entire piece every time, no stop. Here's a mind thriller. You're going to hear a lot of dropouts on my performances. Those are dropouts from the cable dropping out, or the streaming dropping out. But if you were to take and seam up those drops, like bring it into a wave computer, and you could see where the drops were and seam it back together, it would be a perfect production, because through that I trained myself to ignore those stops, and that gave me a completely different sense of time and timing. That it's your time, your internal timing. When you hear me going way slower than slow behind the beat to make certain things happen. But here's the really important part, is all of that is just an illustration that me staying on top of my game. I can translate that. No, I can't translate it to golf. I can't translate it to basketball or pole vaulting. I can translate it to the things that I do with writing, production, editing, direction, what have you. So you see, that's what I'm really trying to show, and that's why I'm always keeping the game up. Sharing as I go, because it's a lot quicker to do that than taking the time to write it down. We can always talk about it, and my mind is expanding with all these different roles to do new things and to take it further. To that same effect, on the topic of improv, when I'm going in there, yes, it is improv, but it's a very fixed improv, okay? I'm giving it a term. The term is called flatline improv, like Flatliners, okay? In the movie Flatliners, what did they do? They checked out, but they had people around them to check them out so they could experience death, not near death, actual death, and then come back from it, okay? So that death is not the death that I'm talking about, not suggested whatsoever. It's a death of consciousness. It's the death of structure. The death of structure for this exercise to grow as an individual, whoever that is. And I'm just sharing what I've learned and what I've gone through. Okay, so all those improvs, when I go into it, Toots Thielman, when he improvised, he would go in, and not everyone does this, okay, but the people that do, it's amazing. Here's why. Only if you're going that deep and you're saying, I'm going into a song, not just to noodle, really. I'm going in for a fixed purpose. I'm Tom Cruise, going on that motorcycle, jumping for how many times, okay, for a specific purpose. Here's the specific purpose. I go in there to find arrangements and to find things that I wouldn't normally do by just feeling them, by being in that gestalt, okay? And when I'm doing that or in that song, each and every one of those songs is a different gestalt. Now, here comes the flatline improv. The flatline. you're checking your consciousness at the door for that improv, okay? And you're just going in to feel it. It could be actors and actresses going in and you're saying lines against someone else's lines. Add new lines to twist. It's really cool stuff, and that's what I have envisioned. So, see, to do all that stuff, okay, yes, I went through a lot of it myself, just sharing quickly, is and sharing as a writer, okay, I had to go and be more method than those are method, especially with what I'm doing with my read-write structure. That when I'm writing lines, I'm writing them specifically for cast members to save time. For both the cast member, for myself, for any of the crew, that you see, it's that those lines fit like gloves. That's right, and they should. Because now there's your Brando cue cards that you're just going into the scene and we're looking at the best scenes. Again, going for the first takes. Because just like those improvs, those first takes, there's great magic. There's great magic. When I improvised that Untouchables, the new theme, what was I doing? I was pulling in the two characters from the Untouchables, but now here he is. Here's Ness. He's looking for Capone, and he's also looking for Michael Sullivan coming in. You see, that's why that second harmonica sound, but still honoring Toots in the first and all that is Ennio Morricone, and what music does, you see, and bringing that all in, that deeply. Where did all these guitars come in? In 2 months, that guitar was my vision of, let's expand the character of Ken on the Beach with the acoustic guitar, so I can bring him into our Forever Friends productions, plus and kicking that all up a notch. A lot of spoilers in there, but the people that need to know about that, including the cast. So thankful to have everyone here. So thankful to be here. The best is already going on, as I told Paramount. I said, I'm ready, in progress, and that's what's going on. Safe travels to everyone. Try out the Flatline Gestalt, or no, whatever, Flatline Improv in a floating Gestalt. That's what you're working on. Thanks again for being here. All the best. And this has been the update du jour.